Hey guys, what's up? It's munclesonkey and welcome to another top 10 video. This time we're going to be doing top 10 least worth it things to do in the game. So again, this one is just kind of for fun. It's not really to take too seriously, but hopefully I'll show you guys 10 things that are really not worth doing and are really a colossal waste of your time. I've never been the most efficiency minded person, but even I would never dream of doing any of these activities because it's just not a good idea. So hopefully you guys enjoy and let's get into the top 10. Number 10 on this list is sharks and magic trees, and these are kind of a sad tale because way back in the day of the early 2000s, cutting down magic trees and fishing sharks were one of the better ways to make money in the game, considering it was skilling. It was really easy to do and quite AFK, and there wasn't a whole lot of ways to make money other than these skilling methods when these first came out in the game. There wasn't stuff like killing bosses for immense amount of GP per hour, so a lot of people would do stuff like cut sharks and magic trees, and that was considered normal, and you could make a decent profit selling the logs to people like fletchers who want to get their fletching up and elk them, and you could sell the sharks for people who wanted to PK and stuff like that. But nowadays both of these are terrible XP rates. Shark are about 12k fishing XP per hour, and magic trees I've heard were around 15k to 20k woodcutting XP per hour, and also the money you get is awful, especially compared to fishing rocktails or cutting down elder trees. So it's better just to wait till you have to level for the higher tier, and even though those technically aren't worth doing either, they're at least much better than sharks and magic trees. Number 9 on this list is Salarin, not to be confused with Saladin, who is a much cooler dude, and what you can do with this guy is you can kill him and he has a chance to drop a sinister key which you can use to open up a chest that actually has a decent amount of herbs in it, but of course it's not worth doing and really no one is ever here because the amount of time it takes to even get a key drop is just not worth it at all. The thing about Salarin is when he first came out, this is one of the few ways in the entire game there was to get torsos, but now there's farming out. When this guy came out, farming was not a skill in the game, and you can get torsos much easier. So as you can see, it's a decent amount of money from those herbs, but totally not worth doing considering the time it takes to get those keys. But I could see maybe this becoming a thing with Iron Men as a way to get torsos if they ever get up to the herblore level to make overloads. Number 8 on this list is the Kalphite Queen, and we're talking about the regular Kalphite Queen here, folks, not the exiled Kalphite Queen, which is a much better and much better money boss, although neither of them are incredibly great. But the thing about the Kalphite Queen is she has an incredibly long spawn time. You can hop worlds, although you have to run quite a bit away because of aggressive Kalphites in the lair to do that, which is annoying, and her drops are just awful. You can kill a Kalphite Queen for hours on end and make an average of like 400 or 500k an hour, of course depending on your luck with dragon chain bodies. However, there is just no reason to kill this boss considering the exiled Kalphite Queen is in the game, so if you ever had a need to kill one of the two, you would go for that one, which is about 3 or 4 times more money per hour than the Kalphite Queen is. In my opinion, this is the worst money out of any boss in the game, although that might be something that could be debatable with Chaos Elemental. Chaos Elemental is pretty bad too, but if I had to pick one boss to make this list, it was going to be the Kalphite Queen just because of the annoyance and the length of the kills. Number 7 on this list is an activity that possibly some of you might have not even known had existed, but trust me, you're not missing anything, and this is brewing. The problem with brewing is it can be a decent amount of money if you get extremely lucky. There is one type of ale that you can make that's worth almost 100k per glass, and that is the Green Man's Ale Matured. But the problem with brewing is when you're trying to make Green Man's Ale, you have a much higher chance of making the regular Green Man's Ale, and then you also have a pretty good decent chance of the ale completely failing and you making nothing out of it at all. So even though there's the potential to make 800k, it takes like 2.5 days for a brew to completely finish, and then you can go collect it. So it takes a really long time, and it's pretty unlikely that you're actually going to profit off of it at all because the regular Green Man's Ales are worth essentially nothing. So this could have turned out really great if only it wasn't so hard to make the ales into the mature version, which is the one that's actually worth money, and all of the ales other than the mature Green Man's Ales really just are hardly worth anything at all and definitely not even worth attempting. However, you do have to do this for one of the task systems, so at least there is one reason that people would still want to do brewing in the game, but other than that, it's just not worth it. Number 6 is Goblin Raids, and I debated with putting this on the list because the thing is, Goblin Raids are not designed for higher level players, they're designed for low level players, and of course a high level player would never want to do these, but the more I thought about it, I couldn't think why a low level player would want to do these either. All you get from the Goblin Raids are some very low level seeds, logs, ores, stuff like that, and the vast majority of it is worth practically nothing. The best drop I got from these Goblin Raiders was a normal log, and I could have done better for myself just going and cutting down normal tree logs, so there was really no point in doing these at all. Maybe a low level might do it once just to see what it is, but I highly doubt they would ever do it again. You can also get some goblin armor from talking to the goblin or killing it if you're a lower combat level. However, this goblin armor is crappier than even just iron armor, so you could just buy iron armor off the GE for practically nothing and wear that instead. There's really no reason to do goblin raids. These are kind of the low level version of the demon boss raids, and they're even less rewarding. I didn't know that was possible, but apparently it is. Number 5 on this list is guilds. There are a lot of guilds throughout RuneScape that require a whole bunch of different things to actually access them, but almost all of them share the same quality in that they are for the most part generally useless. Yes, there is a mini game underneath the Champions Guild that people need to complete by getting champion scrolls and killing the champions for getting the Trim Completionist Cape. However, that isn't really part of the guild itself, although you do access the guild to go in there. That's more of its own separate thing, so I'm completely discounting that. The thing is, you have to do a whole bunch of quests to access some of these guilds, and you kind of think of it as an achievement. However, there's really no reason to go in them unless you really need to buy a dragon mace or something like that, which you can buy for even cheaper off the GE. Again, potentially some uses with Iron Man, but for a typical account, there's really no reason to go in any of the guilds. Even the Warriors Guild is pretty much useless considering defenders are far outclassed by offhand weapons. I would love to see a guild grant a use someday. It would be really cool if they did something like the factions of games like Destiny, where you could meet up in guilds and like go on missions or kill specific bosses for the guilds and earn some sort of currency that could be used to buy rewards within the guilds. I think it would be really cool if something like that happened one day, but for now, the guilds, there's no reason to access them. It's pretty pointless. So hopefully they get an update one day, but for now, they will be for the most part forgotten. Number 4 on this list is the Blood Rune chest, and this could go not just for this specific chest, but for a whole bunch of chests scattered throughout RuneScape that give either GP rewards or rune rewards. There's a couple that give nature runes, for example, and the thing about these chests is they're just horrible money. There's no reason to go to them because they're awful. But interesting story about this particular chest. When I first got members in the game of RuneScape, the first time I ever got members, this was the first members money making method I'd ever heard of. At the time, I believe it was about 150k GP an hour, and I thought that was just ridiculously insane money. Keep in mind, at the time I was like level 20 in free to play and had no idea what I was doing. So my first ever goal I had in this game when I was members was to train up my thieving to get to the Blood Rune chest, and I think I got demotivated at like level 20 and quit. But you can do this. You can quick hop to reset the chest. You used to have to manually hop way back in the day, which took like 30 seconds and what was annoying. Unfortunately, Blood Runes are not worth as much as they used to be back in the day, but you can earn a pretty solid 96k GP per hour by quick hopping and opening this chest. I know it's insane, and I probably just crashed the market on Blood Runes, and yes, this is how people used to make money. Number 3 on this list is Trouble Brewing, and all of us knew this was going to be on the list. Maybe some of you figured it might be number 1 instead of number 3, but there are things that are more useless in the game than Trouble Brewing, believe it or not. And Trouble Brewing does have, unfortunately, one use. You have to get into a Trouble Brewing game. You do not have to play, you just have to get in. You can immediately leave to unlock the Trouble Brewing music track, which is needed for the Completionist and Trim Completionist capes. But other than that, there is no reason to play Trouble Brewing. I'm pretty sure no one plays this game. If someone does, I'd be very surprised. All you get for the rewards are some cosmetic pirate gear, and you can also get this stuff called, ironically, the stuff, which is used for brewing ales, which I showed earlier. It gives a higher success rate of the ale becoming mature, but that is not worth playing Trouble Brewing for. It's a long and tedious minigame, and the rewards are terrible for how long it takes. It does give a small amount of XP as well. I highly doubt this minigame will ever be updated or played again, other than just to unlock that music track. Number 2 on the list is the most useless minigame in the game, and yes, it is not Trouble Brewing, because Trouble Brewing at least has the music track going for it. Gnome Ball has nothing going for it. You can play this minigame, and it's probably like 3k strength XP per hour. All you do is you pick up the Gnome Ball, and you click on the net, and your character throws it, and I think you get like 8 strength XP per shot made, and it takes like 30 seconds to make one. So no, this is not worth doing. No one will ever do this. There's no real rewards for playing the minigame other than the paltry amount amount of strength XP that you get, and you get a Gnome Ball score, and you can beat the gnomes and show them how completely cool and awesome you are and how much taller you are than them, if that's what tickles your fancy. Unless a music track is added to Gnome Ball, or unless some sort of rewards that are required from completion escape are added here, no one's ever going to play this because there's no reason to. You can go check it out if you'd like. It's kind of a cool idea, but this thing was made so long ago, back when RS first came out. That's probably the reason why it looks and plays so bad. And you might be wondering, how come I didn't include a couple other mini games on here which are pretty useless, such as Fist of Gothics, for example. I thought Trouble Brewing and Gnome Ball were the two most useless mini games in the game, and I didn't want to make this list all mini games because, let's be honest, we could have just made 10 mini games and had that be the top 10 list of most useless things to do in RS, so I tried to spice it up a little bit. But for my money, this is by far the most neglected and the most pointless minigame in all of RS. Oh my goodness, there's something in the game more useless than Gnome Ball. What could it be? What could be more useless than something that is completely and utterly useless? It would have to be something that's not only useless, but also actively harms your account, and this is Wishing Well bushes. A bush that has an incredibly high farming requirement, however gives terrible XP considering the amount of time that it takes to grow, and it also is a guaranteed money loss. It is possible to make money off of opening one Wishing Well fruit, possibly even 2 or 3 if you get lucky, but in the long run, if you plant enough of them, you will lose money, and there's no way around it. Not only can you lose money from these, you can lose a lot of money from these. As you can see here, I paid 650k to pick that Wishing Well fruit in cash. I just lost like 300k just for planting a fruit, and I got 2k farming XP in return. That is not worth it. These are absolutely awful and should be completely abolished from the game, or made really good farming XP. If they were like 20k farming XP per pop, yeah, it's worth the risk. It's worth losing a couple 100k because that's amazing farming XP, but with the way they currently are, no one will ever plant these again unless they are just curious to check them out, or unless there's some other reason that I can't think of to plant them. So that's about all for this top 10. Thank you guys for watching. Make sure to check out the rest of the top 10s if you haven't already, and leave your suggestions for the next top 10 in the comments, and I will read your suggestions and I will take all of them into consideration, and I'll probably do the next one not based on the most thumbs up the comment gets, but the one that sounds the most interesting to me, like I did with this one. So thanks for watching, and you see that like button down below the video? It's evil. Kill it. Farewell.
We'll be right back.